Back at it again, and we've got to talk about the fallout from this past election, where Trump absolutely trounced Kamala. I mean, it wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Because, it almost seems as if some of these folks, like, still just don't get it. They just don't get it. And it's mind boggling to me how they don't understand. And what I'm talking about here is, left wing independent media. People like myself, but who put out Democrat content, right? Because there's a guy by the name of David Pakman who has about 3 million, I think it's like 2.8 million subscribers. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Subscriptions have gone up tremendously, obviously, following the election. So shout out to all of the new subscribers. But if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell button next to it so you're notified whenever I drop any videos. All right? Because I drop a lot. Now, what David Pakman is going to go into here is how he's losing subscribers now following the election. And he's having a hard time figuring out why that is. And, I'll get into more after he says what he says. So with that being said, let's dive in.
When I woke up this morning, we had lost 5,000 YouTube subscribers compared to where we were last night. Now, the first thing I thought was, is this a glitch? We've been on YouTube for 15 years or something like that. And subscribers always just go up. They just never go down. They go up. Is something wrong with my channel? Is someone attacking my channel? What's going on? So I started texting. And I texted Brian Tyler Cohen. And I texted Tyler Cohen and Brian Cohen and Brian Tyler. All of them. I texted all of them. I texted Jesse Dollemore. I texted Luke Beasley and Farron Cousins and Sam Cedar. And every single one of our channels since last night is hemorrhaging subscribers. What is it that is going on? Here is a graphic. As you can see, subscribers just go up, 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 and they are down. It is not just YouTube subscribers. We are seeing record cancellations of paid memberships. Record cancellations. These are the people that keep the show running. Now, for a moment, I thought, if it's just YouTube, maybe YouTube is purging people who are inactive subscribers. And once a year, usually YouTube does this and you see a little decline and then numbers go back up. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. And if that were the case, we wouldn't be seeing paid membership cancellations on the website. So now I understand what is going on. It's terrifying, but it is happening. A lot of people are checking out. I heard anecdotally from a couple dozen people who said, David, I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do it. I'm checking out. I'm out. And the reason that this is terrifying, not only because it puts everybody in left-wing media's livelihoods at stake and at risk.
Not really. And I said this right before the election happened. I was like, in a way, Kamala winning would actually be good for me because then I got a lot more to talk about. I got a whole lot more to talk about. Now that Trump's won, I mean, I can't really rag on Kamala anymore. That's kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Like, it's pointless for me to show how terrible she is. We already know that. The country knows that now. She lost. So, like, it's more difficult for me to continue to come up with content to speak about than it is for him. He can still complain. I mean, of course, it's made up, but he can still complain. So, in a way, like, it's not really a bad thing for left-wing independent media. But carry on.
Terrifies me because our instinct is the opposite of what the right does, and we will get crushed if this is the way we respond to a defeat. The right wants us not to exist. The right wants to decimate independent progressive media. And so when I lose 5,000 subscribers and Brian loses thousands and Ring of Fire loses thousands and everybody's losing thousands of subscribers, understand that when the right loses, they get organized, they fund, and they create insanely effective organizations like Turning Point USA, investing in the Daily Wire and building out this huge network of right-wing ideas and influencers. So if you're feeling burnt out, I encourage you, take a break until the inauguration. It's months, okay? Mental health break, do it. But when we start canceling the subscriptions, we are in an algorithmic desubscription spiral right now, because when people start unsubscribing on YouTube, YouTube thinks, oh, we probably shouldn't recommend this content because it's generating a lot of unsubscribes. So then the content doesn't get recommended. And then the message doesn't get out. And then next election, they win by even more. So I do understand the instinct, but if we cede ground to them, they crush us everywhere. Now, we're up against a MAGA Supreme Court potentially till 2050. We'll talk about that later. We're up against a completely uninhibited Trump. I actually have an entire chapter in my forthcoming book, The Echo Machine, about exactly this. It's not...
Okay, that's enough. We don't need any free promo. Anyway, so you heard him there. His channel is hemorrhaging subscribers, and so are other left-wing independent media guys. And he's one of the biggest. David Pacman is one of the biggest, left-wing independent guys, especially on YouTube. He's one of the biggest. Like I said, he has almost 15, or not 15. Has almost 3 million subscribers, but he's been doing it for like 15 years. So he's got a bit more time in the game. You know, I don't know where I'm at this point. I think I'm at 1.5, almost 1.6. So, hey, let's get that to 3, baby. Hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed currently. Yeah, nearly at 1.6 currently. So let's get that to 3 million. All right, let's get that to 3 million. But, you know, it's not really difficult to figure out why channels like his are hemorrhaging subscribers. It's quite simple. And the answer is they lied. They lied to their viewers. And I've always said, and this is one of the things that I've always said, and some of you guys can attest to this that have watched all of my videos. I said, I will never get on here and lie to you. If Trump or Republicans are in a bad position, I'm going to tell you the truth. You may not like it. You may not want to hear it. But just ignoring a problem doesn't mean it goes away. Just because you turn your back on a problem doesn't mean when you turn back around, it's not going to be there. It's still going to be there. Trust and believe, it's still going to be there. So it doesn't do us any justice to just ignore something. And when you have someone who's just telling their subscribers and their viewers, hey, everything is sunshine and rainbows, when clearly it isn't, when you're obviously and clearly, blatantly ignoring problems that are going on with your candidate and your party, yeah, when the result turns out to be what it is, you're going to hemorrhage subscribers because they realize and understand you weren't telling them the truth. You weren't. I mean, I'll play this clip because this is what he was saying right before the election. Check it out.
538's final projection. There is a 50% chance that Kamala Harris wins, a 49% chance that Trump wins, and a slightly less than 1% chance that we end with a 269 to 269 tie in the Electoral College. Make of that what you will. In the Real Clear Politics battleground average, this is Real Clear Politics doesn't have like a more overall kind of forecast, but it'll come down to the swing states. And on that basis, the Real Clear Politics battleground state polling averages have Kamala Harris winning Wisconsin and Virginia, and Trump winning the other battleground states, Arizona to Trump, Nevada to Trump, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia to Trump. Now, what I can tell you is that from these states here, if the outcomes are as Real Clear Politics has it, except Harris gets Pennsylvania, then Harris gets the 270 she needs, and she becomes president. Nate Silver's final silver bulletin, he locked it at midnight 30 this morning and says, happy election day. We ran our simulation model for the final time. Out of 80,000 simulations, Kamala Harris won 50.015% of them. She did not win 49.985. This is as close to a coin flip as you can get. And Nate Silver says, I'm not quite sure what to say about this, but we'll have a newsletter out later. So essentially another 50-50 coin flip. As you know, Alan Lichtman's qualitative analysis, which looks at 13 keys, says that Kamala Harris will win. We had Alan Lichtman on the show explaining that in detail, and you can check out that interview. And then we have some prediction markets, each of which is worth more or less, depending on who you ask. The predicted market has ended up with Trump just slightly ahead of Kamala Harris. You might say, how do these end up adding up to more than 100? The answer essentially doesn't matter, but these are not percentages, is the thing to understand. But Trump with a very, very slight lead, really close to a coin flip. Polymarket, which is the Peter Thiel associated prediction market, has it for Trump by roughly 62-38. This is, of course, the big criticism of this is totally being pushed by rich Trump supporters dumping money in for Trump, and it doesn't really reflect the likely outcomes, but this has it at roughly 62-38 for Trump.
You see what I'm saying? This is just being pushed by rich Trump supporters, just dumping money in. Where's your evidence for this stuff? That you literally just pull that out of your behind. It's just being pushed by rich Trump supporters. How would you know that? Where are you getting this from? Like, please explain that one to me. Because anybody who has any common sense knows you don't put your feelings into putting your money up on something. You're smart about it so that you can earn more money. You just don't lose money and throw it in the toilet. Okay. So yeah, that doesn't even make sense, but that's what I mean. Just blatantly lying and making it seem like everything was sunshine and rainbows. The poly market, it doesn't mean anything. Sure. It's not a poll. Sure. But these are folks who are putting their money on the line. I don't know of anybody who just flushes their money down the drain just for shits and giggles, right? So say what you want, but I feel like the poly market does give you a clue as to the direction of things, because people aren't just going to willingly throw their money away. That just doesn't even make sense. It just doesn't. If you look at all of the street interviews, right, which I didn't hear him talking about. If you look at all the street interviews of just people saying, hey, yo, Trump. And I've shown you guys a lot of those videos. Like, the evidence was there that Trump was going to win, more than likely going to win. The evidence was there. When you talk about Kamala bussing people in to her rallies, if you have that much support, why do you need to bus people in? Why are there giant buses outside of your rally area or outside of where you're having a rally? That just doesn't make sense. I've never seen buses outside of a Trump rally. Even in New York, in blue state New York, Trump held a rally of 20,000 people. 20,000 people in a blue state. Blue state. Has Kamala gone to a red state and just had a rally by herself without paying somebody millions of dollars to have a concert so people showed up for a free concert? No. All the evidence is right there, but people like himself and others on the left just choose to ignore all that and tell all of their followers that everything's sunshine and rainbows. That's why they're losing subscribers. People like me, I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or love it. Hate me if you want to, but you're going to hear this truth. If Trump was doing bad, I was going to tell you, and I was going to try to fix it as best way as I could, or try to provide some type of idea on how to fix it, but I'm going to tell you. They just completely ignored it. Buses outside of Kamala's rally, you don't see that as an issue? You're not going to talk about that? You're not going to touch on that? More people betting on Trump winning than Kamala? You don't see that as an issue? You just blow that one off? You just completely blow that off. Voter registration numbers. You don't see Republicans winning in voter registration over Democrats? You don't see that as a problem? Like, you don't see that as an issue. Like, there were so many things that were stacked on top of this, And he's just like, well, I don't know what's going on. Like, people are just checking out. Alan Lichtman, you didn't like think to examine his 13 keys for yourself? Like, all of it just doesn't make any sense. I literally made a video on Alan Lichtman's 13 keys to winning the White House and debunked the entire thing. I even gave him a few of the keys. I was like, you know what? This one's a little close, so yeah, you can have that one. That one can go for Kamala. And Trump still easily won that in the 13 keys that have correctly predicted, elections. I guess he is right. Those 13 keys do predict elections, but you have to examine them correctly, unlike he did. Like, it just doesn't, it just doesn't make any type of sense. But then on top of that, when you've been giving your followers, false hope, and then they get a result like what we got, like this, that I'm about to show you, oh yeah, people are going to be angry. Your credibility is shot. It's done. It's cooked. You're like on the same track as mainstream media. People come to independent media so they can get away from the lies of mainstream media, for the most part. And when all you're doing is feeding them lies too, well, then they check out from you the same way they checked out from mainstream media.
The breadth of the improvement that Donald Trump had, holy Toledo. All right, Trump gained ground in 49 states and the District of Columbia compared to 2020. I went back through the record books. When was the last time a party gained in so many different places? You have to go all the way back to 1992 when Bill Clinton improved upon Michael Dukakis's performance in 49 states, plus the District of Columbia. The bottom line is, no matter where you looked on the map, Kate Baldwin, no matter where you looked, Donald Trump was improving on where he did 4 years ago, except for Washington State. It is no wonder that at this particular point, he looks like he's going to be the first Republican to win the popular vote since George W. Bush back in 2004.
And to pull that off, he gained ground with groups that Republicans do not generally count as part of their winning coalition, or really at all. How much ground did he gain?
Yeah, holy Toledo. It's just like, oh, my goodness gracious. These are the types of groups that you would never have thought that Donald Trump would have gained so much support among 8 years ago when he first won against Hillary Clinton. Trump's was the best GOP showing among 18 to 29-year-olds in 20 years. You have to go all the way back to 2004. How about among black voters? It was the best performance for a Republican candidate for president in 48 years since Gerald Ford back in 1976. And among Hispanic voters, the exit polls only go back since 1972. But Donald Trump's performance on Tuesday was the best for a Republican presidential candidate in exit poll history. He literally goes all the way back through history and breaks history. This is what we're talking about, Kate Baldwin. Groups that you never thought that Donald Trump would do well among, even for a Republican candidate, that is what he did. If the 2016 election was about Donald Trump breaking through with white working class voters, this election was about breaking through and going to that Democratic coalition and tearing it apart.
And it wasn't just what he did for his own support. It trickled down to helping the Senate and helping in the House?
Yeah. So, a lot of talk this morning and this week is, the GOP is going to have a Senate majority. We don't know if the Republicans are going to have a House majority, but we think that that's the most likely to be the case. But I want you to look at the 2024 House GOP national vote showing. So this is the House popular vote. Currently, the GOP is ahead by 5 points. I expect that to shrink a little bit as some of the California results come in. But if let's just say he wins, the House GOP wins by more than 2.6 points, it will be the best House GOP showing in a presidential year in the House popular vote since 1928. If there's any viewer out there who is that old, God bless you. But the bottom line is it was probably the best House GOP national vote showing during most of our viewers' lifetimes.
The best in a lifetime. So, I mean, it's quite easy to figure out why left-wing independent media are hemorrhaging followers and subscribers, and folks like myself are gaining them at a rapid rate now. So shout out to all of the new subscribers. Welcome. Okay. Welcome. But, yeah, you got a complete and total and utter blowout when you were telling everybody, oh, well, this one's going to be close. It's 50-50. It's a toss-up. When you knew it wasn't a toss-up. My final prediction had Trump sweeping the swing states minus Michigan. Minus Michigan. And I've been talking about politics for maybe 2 years. And I could see it. Like, I wouldn't call myself a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but like, I could see it. And I always provided evidence and video clips as to why I felt the way that I felt. I wasn't just out here talking out of the side of my neck or making up some kind of excuse for this or making up some kind of excuse for that or trying to cover up this or trying to cover up that the way that they are. Like, I just told it like it was. Told it like it was in all of the videos. Like, there's so many videos, and you guys know this line. There's more. I've made so many of those videos, it's ridiculous. And I could have made more. Could have made more. When you have something like that going on, like, it's clear to see Trump's going to win. She's about to lose. Now, of course, I was cautious. This is my first year actually covering a presidential election. Like I said, I've only been doing this for a couple of years. But still, my final prediction, I had Trump sweeping the swing states minus Michigan. And I only said minus Michigan because, I thought, some shenanigans might get pulled. But shout out to, I believe his name was Michael Watley and, of course, Laura Trump. They were on top of it. Whenever there was anything questionable, Laura Trump was on it. On it. Hey, we taking you to court right now. Right now. Judge, we need a ruling ASAP. Right? I think it was in Pennsylvania where they were going to stop the counting. And RNC was like, absolutely not. We about to take this to court right now. And they did. And the judge was like, oh, no, y'all got to keep counting. So they did. They didn't stop it. Where they closed the polls early. I believe that was in Pennsylvania as well. They closed the polls early at one location. And RNC was like, absolutely not. We taking you to court. And they did. And the judge was like, well, you're going to have to extend early voting because you closed the polls early that day, so you're going to have to extend it. So they were on it. So, major credit goes to the RNC as well because, like I said, they were on top of it. People like Scott Pressler, boots on the ground, getting people registered to vote. Like, I mean, all the signs were there, and yeah, it's not shocking. But anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions on this in the comment section below. I just thought that was hilarious, just watching him like, I don't know what's going on. People are just checking out. Well, yeah, you lied to them. You lied. So, of course, people are going to check out. They realize you lied to them. Blatantly lied to them. Easy. I'm out.